Hi everyone. Now before I start this video, I just want to say that I'm a fan of Disney, and I'm making this kind of recording after everything was done. I know my friend of mine, and also myself, we say kind of funny, kind of crass things, but then again, we're trying to go for a, certain demographic and certain audience and that sort of thing. But again, we do have a lot of respect for this artist. His name is Jirka Vinse Jonatan Väätäinen. I think that might be German, but I'm not 100% sure if I said his name right. But overall, we did have our own opinions on each one of his work. But I would say that I highly recommend this artist. He's a very talented person. I'm really looking forward to what he makes next. I gotta say that his work is amazing, not just, his Disney and real life ones, but some other ones too. So I highly recommend going to his site and looking at each of his pictures. Well, I wouldn't say pictures, I would say more like his art. So check it out. So anyway, I would say click on the link below to see those. Again, I highly recommend them. So anyway, without further ado, here's what I and a friend of mine thought of his art. Hi, welcome to End Credit Reviews. This is Tyler from End Credit Reviews.
And Steven from Steven Lawson Studios.
And today we're going to do something very different. Now, this is something I discovered a while back, where we have an artist named Jirka Vinse Jonatan Väätäinen. I'm not 100% best with names,
Too
but
fancy for me, yeah.
yeah, he's I think he's a European artist by, judging by the name, and he's really well known on the internet for pretty much making a lot of Disney-ish characters what they would look like in real life. These are like, human characters. And he even did some non-Disney ones, but he mostly focused on just like, Disney itself. Not Pixar, just Disney. So without further ado, we're going to have a reaction to these. So our first one is Cruella de Vil. And I have to say that that's a really good, realistic Cruella de Vil,
Yeah,
I would have to say.
Very bony and like, yeah, it's the perfect balance of like, you're not literally old, but you kind of are still, like, that borderline, breasts are drooping, and then also disturbingly Botoxed in the mouth. Like,
I don't know, she kind of looks like, I don't know, she kind of looks like what Miss Veselight might look like in 15 years.
Gosh. No comment on that one. Okay, she's listening.
Inside joke. She comes find us like, what? With like a knife. We're like, well, you know what happened to us, folks. If something bad happens to us, just, you know who to find. All right, so the next one is Hans from Frozen. I'm just going to be honest here. Emily Wynn finds it hilarious and ironic that he looks like Brock Turner.
Yeah, he really does. He does look like Brock Turner. And, dimensions are a little weird. Kind of just gets cut off at a certain point, and he's got some Brazzers remains on his jacket on the backside. But
well, I think the artist is trying to incorporate, stuff that was happening in the movie because, Frozen was a very snow-like movie, so some snow was on there and that sort of thing.
No, he can have dandruff. I'm not playing him either.
Or maybe that cocaine, but
right.
All right, so moving on. Jafar looks very realistic, I would have to say.
Yeah, he does. Played by Ben Kingsley. No,
I was thinking more like Prince, but
yeah, that is definitely how he looks more. I'm just, thinking actually kind of similar to the Bad Prince of Persia movie, like he would.
I thought it was okay.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, it was better than the majority of video game movies.
That's true. That's not saying a whole lot, but yeah.
I know. A lot of video game movies are not very good, but I'm just hoping for Assassin's Creed. I'm just hoping out.
Them nails he's got.
But by the time this video gets made, that movie might be out by then, but who knows.
Yeah.
All right, so next one. This is one of the most, I have to say, this is probably one of the most realistic ones I've seen. Judge Claude Frollo from The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
That is disturbingly realistic. He is like staring into your soul, and he is like the Puritan guy that burns witches for fun. Like,
and then
it's unbelievable.
And then sings to his fireplace how he wants to bang one of the gypsies.
Right.
Which, by the way, is probably the one thing I like about Hunchback of Notre Dame is the Hellfire scene. It's probably one of the best Disney villain songs of all time.
Yeah.
It has amazing imagery, too, especially when those cloaked figures come and they start singing Latin. I feel like that was such amazing imagery and animation right there. All right, so moving on. So we have Mother Gothel from Tangled, and I have to say a mix of Michelle Pfeiffer, Cher, definitely cougar attitude going on.
I think that one's okay. This is honestly one of the less good ones, I think.
Have you seen Tangled?
I have seen, yeah.
I think it's one of the better Disney movies that's come out in the past 10 years or so.
I just mean in terms
It's better than
of,
Frozen.
I just mean in terms of the, like, representation. The face feels off to me, and, like, you know how the rest of the body looks, but the face is almost a little bit too big. To me, that's how it feels. The rest of them, I think, are pretty nailed, but this one so far, I'm like, yeah, I guess, overall.
I mean, there's interesting conspiracy theories saying that the evil queen from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and Mother Gothel from Tangled are the same person because they have the both same hair color and eye color. They're both obsessed with youth. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs takes place in late Middle Ages, early Renaissance. Tangled is probably like late Renaissance. In fact, the evil queen's real name is Queen Grimheim, and her name is Gothel, so both begin with G.
And if you look through a triangle, you can see that.
Yeah, it's not
Illuminati
like that.
Confirmed.
But I feel like it's a pretty interesting, conspiracy that like I would kind of buy into. So next one we have Ursula from The Little Mermaid.
Oh no! Yeah, that's pretty realistic too.
Yeah.
Oh goodness, she is BBW to be sure.
Yeah. All right. So moving on. All right. So we have Gaston. This one looks pretty realistic.
With the bitch please face of Yao Ming.
Yeah, it does. He does. I was just wondering what was that face from. No one memes like Gaston. No one has a big chin like Gaston.
Yeah. And all the great
YouTube
YTPs
yes.
about Gaston. Showing his chest hair over and over again.
Someone better do a completion of Gaston YouTube poops before the Beauty and the Beast remake comes out.
Absolutely.
Yes. I would love to see the actors playing Gaston in that movie. Man, the name just left me. The guy who played Dracula and Dracula Untold. Luke Evans. Luke Evans.
Yeah.
I would love to see him like watch those YouTube poops and react to them.
Yeah, that would be funny.
All right. Moving on. Okay. The queen from Snow White and Seven Dwarfs looks a lot like, Betty Davis. Remember from the 30s? Because this was like, the time period that movie was made.
Yeah.
I would have to say this is definitely one. At first I was kind of mixed about, but looking at it more, I'm like, yeah, it looks really good, I have to say. All right, so moving on. Captain Hook.
Look at that forehead and nostrils. Oh my goodness.
The guy looks like that villain from Lazy Town a little bit with that big chin.
Robbie Rotten. Yeah.
You are number one.
We are number one at catching booty.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what he kind of looks like. Some kind of villain from like the 50s. We would see like a swashbuckler or whatever.
What a sketchy villain too. Like trying to steal and abduct children from a place where they never grow old.
Oh, yeah. I think when they made that Hook movie, they should have cast Michael Jackson as Captain Hook and not Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so bad. All right, so moving on to our next one. Maleficent looks really good, I would have to say. I mean, I'm kind of mixed about the horns a little bit. I felt like that was probably the less realistic part about her. But I would have to say that everything else about her, like her narrow face, is really good and realistic.
I think it's realistic for the cartoon. I have a lot of trouble with some of the, texture choices and of the skin and eyes that, to me, it kind of seems like this is good, rough live action representation, but it's not a person. Like, I want to see this as a person, and I have trouble with that.
Well, you got the Angelina Jolie one, but for some reason her skin's not even green in that.
Yeah, there's definitely a balance, but at least in that case, there's a person you can see, and in this one, it's like, I mean,
I feel like it's really cool. Still realistic-ish looking.
cool enough, I guess. Yeah.
So moving on. This is one I'm probably one of the worst ones. I mean, Hades. I mean, I think everything looks good except in the face. He doesn't look, I guess, skeleton dead looking enough. I would have to say he kind of looks too normal, I would say.
I agree. I feel he does in the face look too healthy, too douchey, almost surfer dude.
Well, he's the villain, so...
Yeah, and I guess the douchey is appropriate then, but I agree that this one is like, yeah, the problem is it looks too realistic. Like, almost makes him look a bit lame.
Yeah, so moving on, we have our... Remember Ursula's Disguise and Little Mermaid, Vanessa?
Oh,
yeah, this one is definitely one of the better ones, I would say, the villain lineup.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Yeah,
so...
she looks good.
What do you mean good?
But I mean positive, as in
Boing?
a good comparison. Also Boing, yes. Boing confirmed.
Sorry, I had to put you on the spot.
10 of 10 would Boing.
But no, that's actually Ursula in disguise, right?
Yes. The definition of a succubus, basically.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm feeling a little dry in the throat. I'm not feeling so good.
Oh, I thought you were being
Something that's going
like,
around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to get over this damn cold and that. Alright, so this is like a GIF, I guess, created. We're just not really going to talk about this. A GIF, whatever, you know? I mean, it's spelled like G-I-F, but it's pronounced GIF like J-I-F. Which is weird. Moving on. Okay, so now I guess it's more the princesses or whatever, even though some of these are not even princesses. So we got Alice from Alice in Wonderland. I would say it looks good, I guess, realistic from what we would see in live action. Not that bad Tim Burton version.
Yeah, she seems fairly realistic to me, definitely.
Okay, so we have Aurora from Sleeping Beauty, or some would call her Briar Rose. And she kind of looks like Jennifer Gardner a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's fairly realistic. There's something a little less realistic to me than the last one, but yeah.
Oh, maybe her waist could have been a little bit more narrower.
I think it's just the coloring, too. The coloring's a little... this is a set. and like a, part of a production, not a real person. But I don't know. Like, I think it's
based off an animated movie.
It's good enough, yeah.
All right. Belle from Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, she's a little smaller, I think, than she would be, especially in the face.
This is some of the older versions he did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I would say that, yeah, she does look a lot like Belle from there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they could have used her in her iconic, golden dress or whatever.
She also looks like she was cast straight from Disney Channel after a show flop.
Well, yeah, there's that Belle's Magical World that was supposed to be a TV show, but they're like, nah, let's make it go direct to video.
Yeah, good call, if ever.
Yeah. So we have Cinderella from Cinderella. And I would say that, yeah, it looks a little bit like that. I think she is one of the more basic looking, I would say, of the princesses in the renditions, but I don't know, maybe because they went with their, regular clothes that she had, not the, princess look that she's most seen for.
That's probably part of it. I think there's also a little bit of different dimension in the face, like she had a thinner chin and stuff like that, but I think this is a fairly realistic, representation with, just a few minor differences. But yeah. And also, I guess there could be similarly did you say her name was like Goth something? The one with the bat.
Mother Gothel?
Yeah, Mother Gothel. She's got a slightly, I think, exaggerated head, very slightly. But
maybe the position they had it at. So we have Esmeralda, definitely looking very realistic.
Yeah,
I have to say.
that could be a real person. That's really good.
Yeah, we have a friend. I'm not gonna say her name, but she also did a really good Esmeralda costume when she was, Halloween a while back. We'll probably tag her in this video when we share it on Facebook or whatever. But yeah, definitely looks a lot like a reason why Frollo would definitely sing to his fire. Trying to rival Gaston in YouTube poops.
Yeah.
Alright, so moving on. Jane from Tarzan definitely looks one of the better, I guess, realistic ones, I would have to say.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely definitely one of the more attractive ones, I would have to say, in this one.
And accurate. I think it's accurate too, even how the face, is proportional.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, really good, work in the eyes and that. So, moving on, we have Jasmine from Aladdin. And definitely looking very Arabic looking. I mean, from what I've heard, the realistic inspiration behind Jasmine's look was kind of Jennifer Connelly. But obviously, I guess I don't want to sound like, oh, body shaming or whatever. But, Jennifer Connelly definitely had a more bigger front, chest.
Triggered! No.
I love how you did that. In that. And this one looked a little bit more, but then again, animation live action. And to say that she kind of reminds me a little bit of Kim Kardashian, but I'm not trying to say in a bad way.
I can see that in the face and eyes especially.
Yeah, in the hair, but definitely another good job, I would have to say, with this one. So
That's
moving
pretty
on,
good. Yeah.
we have Elsa from Frozen. Definitely another really good one, I would have to say. Maybe the eyes are a little bit small, but then again, Disney eyes are kind of big because that's their animation style.
I think, honestly, this is one of the ones that a lot of it seems almost not realistic enough. Like, they just kept too much Disney, feel about it to make it seem real. But it's a pretty good representation, I guess. Yeah.
And then we have Elsa, her sister. Definitely Emma Stone right there.
Yeah, and that's a better one. That's a more realistic one.
Yeah, definitely. They don't really look that much like sisters, I think. But maybe kind of. I don't know. Maybe it's because Elsa has heavier eye makeup on. So we have Ariel. This is like one of the older ones. The picture is definitely a lot smaller, I would have to say. But again, looks good, I would have to say.
Yeah, I think I'd say that looks pretty realistic.
Yeah, I mean, the torso maybe is not as thin like it was in the animated cartoon. But then again, stuff looks more like in live action, even though realistically I have seen women, showing on the internet, like no Photoshop. That's how naturally thin they are in real life.
Yeah.
They were like, they were, kind of have that kind of physical body shape, and they keep in shape very well.
I wonder if she likes fish sticks.
Kanye West joke from South Park.
Yes.
All right, so next we're moving on to Megara from Hercules. And yeah, definitely looks realistic, I would have to say.
Yeah, I agree. That's pretty darn realistic.
I would say that pose definitely sums up Megara.
This feels like it could be a real person.
It does. Yeah.
The only thing is, I think a little bit in the face and nose, it feels like she probably would have had to have plastic surgery, but that's very realistic. People have that, so.
Well, yeah, I agree with that.
It seems, pretty real to me. That's one of the more realistic ones.
So we have our one that's actually a Pixar one. We have Miranda from Brave. I'm not sure if I said that name right. Sorry if I said her name. And yeah, she's definitely, again, I'm probably going to be hated by this, but she's probably one of the kind on the list.
This is one of the most garbage ones, if not the most. This is like, I feel the tumors on my back. This is cancer.
She's saying, I will fight for my own hand. And I'm like, well, not anyone wanted to really fight for your hand in the first place.
I'll fight for the sack over the head.
We triggered so many Brave fans. That's one of the most overrated movies I've seen. Like, at least, Disney related.
Hit the back button. if you're triggered by it.
Or, maybe go next one.
Right.
All right, so next one we have Mulan. Not to say, definitely very realistic, I would have to say.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is a very real-world realistic.
Yeah, definitely. So next we have Pocahontas. And
I have reservations with her.
I thought your joke was going to be like, I would like to poke her hotness.
Does someone have a blanket? Preferably with smallpox.
Oh, God, no, Steven, no. Now, I will say that I don't remember her name right now, but the voice actress for Pocahontas, not only was her singing voice, but apparently she was the real-life model for Pocahontas, so she's pretty much the real Pocahontas. And they definitely modeled not just her in animation form, but also the actress who played her, in voice and also singing. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, this one is definitely one of the more realistic ones. Very much towards the top. And quite a looker.
Well, not historically accurate, because the real Pocahontas was like a kid.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing.
So it was very questionable.
Yeah.
But
So moving on, we have Rapunzel from Tangled, and I'd have to say right off the bat, looks a lot like Dakota Fanning in the face.
yeah, I think this one, it's definitely not one of the best, but it's definitely not one of the worst. It's pretty solid.
With the face, I kind of associated Rapunzel looked more like Amanda Seyfried in a way.
Okay.
I have to say, because, Amanda Seyfried's got them bigger eyes. Like
Them bigger eyes.
She's still attractive. And this one I felt like was another, good one too, in a way. Because, I think Rapunzel was like 18.
Is she giving a clue to pull her hair or something like it?
Well, they want to like emphasize like, yeah, I got that long hair.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding.
I'm happy. If that movie was made by DreamWorks, they would have probably had a musical number like, I whip my hair back and forth. I whip my hair back and forth.
Gosh, cancer, no.
I am not a DreamWorks fan. I just had to say that. Okay.
I got you.
So our next one, we have Snow White from, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I would say definitely looks a lot like, ones from, like women from like, the 30s and that. And, I would say Snow White is my favorite princess because, that's my favorite Disney movie right there. And I would say that, yeah, definitely looks, I guess you could say the fairest in the land. Definitely looks more like the fairest in the land than, Kristen Stewart in Snow White and the Huntsman.
Yeah, definitely. This one for me, I would say, gosh, I'm torn about it because I feel like when it first struck me, it was like, this isn't realistic. But then the second, a few seconds afterward, I was like, well, no, I think it doesn't look like a realistic, like, woman in her teens to 20s, which was kind of how I was envisioning a lot of the other girls. This looks more like a young girl. Like,
well, the thing is that a lot of the Disney princesses are technically like 16, 18, in a way to kind of appeal more towards girls,
right,
I guess.
And she feels definitely younger than that demographic. It is the key difference. And in that regard, in the face, I really think that it does capture a good element of realism, but not quite as, at least in terms of size and proportion to the animated movie.
Okay. I would have to say that, women back then aged a lot, quicker in ways because I guess, life wasn't that good as well as there weren't, antibiotics and that. In fact, I was watching The Wolfman, and the actress in that movie, I thought she was like close to 30, but she was actually about my age when she made that movie. I'm like, she was my age? She looks older than me. All right, so moving on, we have Tiana. I think that's how you pronounce her name, from Princess and the Frog.
And the Proud Family, apparently. No, yeah.
We get more and more hate mail as this video is being made. I would say definitely looking like, again, like the animation just jumped off the page into real life.
I think it's decent. I wouldn't say it's quite that great. I think it's good, but yeah.
Okay. Tinkerbell, looking kind of like what she did in the face, at least, with, her facial proportions and that.
Yeah, I think that one is kind of like a lot of these, pretty realistic. Yeah, you can say what you want about, like, some of the body proportions, but overall I think it's better, more evenly proportioned and decent.
Okay.
I'd say decent.
All right, this is like an older Ursula one. We're not really going to talk about that. And we have Wendy Deer from Peter Pan. Not bad, just
Yeah, I agree. It seems fairly realistic to me, though. I will say that.
Yeah,
It
definitely.
doesn't jump out at me, but yeah.
Yeah. All right, so I think this is like the Disney princes or whatever because, well, not all of them are princes because they don't have that royalty. But moving on. All right, so we have the prince from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And I would say that the big problem I have is that his hair looks too dark. Like in the movie, he was definitely more of a brunette, like brown hair. In this one, he has too much of a darker hair in a way, but if they would have made his hair more brown, then it would have been really good.
And he feels, again, like Snow White did in these pictures, a bit younger than portrayed, in the animated movie. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely more like a real person, but it's, it definitely strays, to me, a bit too far from the source material.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if his hair color was more brown, it definitely would be more convincing to me. So, Hercules, I would have to say that looks convincing, I would say. I mean, kind of gets that narrow Matthew McConaughey. All right, we're going to take down this bunch of do my 12 labors and that, and I'm just going to go fight Hercules and get Megara, even though I'm just going to have a hard time and get my Dan DeVito sounding, trainer and that sort of thing. All right.
I didn't ask to be a demigod or the stepchild of Zeus, but
I went from zero to hero, not because I thought it was cool.
because I drove Lincoln.
Yeah. But he did sell a lot of product placement stuff in that movie.
Yep.
Okay, so our next one is Prince Eric from...
We should say, though, I mean, what do we think of that last one, the Hercules one?
I would say it looks good.
Yeah, I think it looks pretty good.
Okay, so now we have Prince Eric from Little Mermaid. He kind of looks like John Stamos a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And Adrian Brody with nose reduction.
I don't know. I mean, he looks more youthful than Adrian Brody, but...
Yeah, definitely.
Fun fact, the guy who voiced Prince Eric also voiced Spider-Man in the 90s Spider-Man TV show.
Spoderman?
I mean, this guy could probably hit up a lot of women at the club like, hey, not only did I voice a Disney prince, but also I voiced Spider-Man, so...
So I am a prince and I know how to shoot my white load at you.
Hopefully by now you realize you should not let your kids watch this. Okay. So now we have Prince Philip from different one. From Sleeping Beauty. And I'd say he kind of looks like James Dean.
Yeah. I do think this is one of the most realistic I've seen.
Yeah, just hopefully he doesn't, be in a bunch of like really not so good movies and overstay his welcome. I'm trying to remember the actor's name, but I'll just insert a photo so you know what I'm talking about.
Preferably one that isn't complimentary.
I mean, at least this guy slayed a dragon and one of the best Disney villains of all time. All right, so our next one we have, I'm trying to remember his name. Oh, John Smith from Pocahontas. And I say it looks realistic, I guess I would say, from the movie.
Except the head is not proportional to the rest of the body besides the neck. Like, the neck and head just grow all of a sudden, and the rest of the man is definitely
I think
smaller.
It's just turned head. All right, so moving on, we have Aladdin from Aladdin, and kind of reminds me of the voice actor for Aladdin. I'm trying to remember his name, but
in the face, he's definitely realistic. I don't honestly see that face going with that, torso and arms personally, but I think those could be two separate people fused together in a unholy,
like the Captain America, like Captain America, the First Avenger.
Yeah.
Well, it looks more convincing than Mike Myers with a Love Guru when he was like a kid.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yep. Sorry, we brought traumatic flashbacks from that movie, folks.
Triggered.
Haven't even seen that movie, but I've seen enough trailer footage to say no. All right, so next we have the Beast, a.k.a. Prince Adam from Beauty and the Beast. I would like to see him in beast form, what he would look like.
A.k.a. Prince over dramatic in this picture. Look at that. Like, oh, I'm so dainty. Oh.
Well, he's like, falling asleep and that sort of thing. Well,
Okay.
because of the fact that, remember, he changes back into a human
Mhm.
at the end. There's like a brief spot where he's like laying down because, you know, the transformation scene.
I
And he
wanna-
almost dies, too, at the end of the movie.
Right, because he couldn't handle Gaston's memory.
YouTube poop YTP.
Yes.
Gaston slays a furry.
Yeah, I would like to see this with his eyes open,
I know. I was thinking the
Um,
same thing, too.
but
Like,
yeah.
maybe in the iconic, you know, blue, you know, suit that he had on or whatever.
Mhm.
All right, so moving
Fairly
on, we have the
Steve
prince
Carell, I mean.
from... Wait, what did you
I
say?
said young Steve Carell.
Yeah. No! All right,
No!
so we have the prince from Cinderella. He's probably one of the most basic looking people
Mhm.
on here. He's probably the typical Prince Charming looking dude.
Yeah, I agree. Dashing enough.
Looks a little bit like Don Draper, you know, the guy from Mad Men, lead
Yeah.
guy.
I can see that. Don Draper's definitely got more of a...
Oh, wait, that's the character. I meant John Hamm as the actor
Yeah.
who plays him. The character is Don Draper on Mad Men.
I understand, but same person, you know, on screen, and yeah. So I can definitely see what you mean. He's got a slightly bigger nose and exaggerated features, but yeah.
Well, they all try to do that for, you know, the characterization. So next we have Tarzan from Tarzan. And I have to say that I bet, you know, I think a lot of women like this guy just because he's mostly the most naked person in the entire Disney lineup.
Pretty much, he's basically got an animal skin covering his penis, and that's about it.
He's got like, his feet are leather from like surfing on them vines.
Yeah. Doing Vine before it was cool.
Yeah, the Vine. Yeah, the creator of Vine right here. Yeah. Yeah, I got them Phil Collins music in the background.
He's getting into a fist fight with George of the Jungle
Yeah.
over a turf dispute.
And then George of the Jungle says, "You know, wait, I can't do this thing right now. I gotta go back to one of the Mummy movies right now." But
Yeah, this is pretty good though, I think.
yeah, definitely got the face right. I'd say how narrow it was.
Yeah, it's another case to me of, does the face quite match the rest of the body? And
I'd
it's
say kinda.
pretty close to me. I'm forgiving of this one. So yeah.
You like Tarzan the movie?
Yeah, I definitely.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I think it was like the last of the Disney Renaissance. I would have to say. Of that time period. So all right. So moving on, we have what's his name again? Captain Li Shang
From Street Fighter.
from Mulan. I would say he does look more realistic. I would have to say a little bit. Maybe the head looks a little bit too big on the body.
Yeah, I agree. And there's something almost a little too cartoony about the lighting and the paint. Well, not cartoony, like, you know,
Well, it's based on a cartoon. But...
Yeah, but I mean like animated, or the lighting is so perfect it's almost like it's not real. It's a game character or a, you know, someone that was animated or something like that. So, I think overall it looks fine, but there's definitely that aspect of it where it's like
The head's too big.
yeah, I guess that's part of it too. But to me, even more than that, it's the lighting and stuff of it.
I mean, it's more realistic than that kid with the CG muscles from like Kung Fu Hustle. He's like, who wants to challenge me to a fight? You, kid. And he just some muscle.
Yeah.
And then like the old man with the muscles.
That was great.
Yeah, we should watch that again sometime.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on, we have Captain Phoebus from Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Captain, what's his name? From Magic Mike, more like it.
Channing Tatum?
Captain Channing Tatum. Yeah, look at this. It's ridiculous.
I think he's probably one of the more homely, I guess, you know, the princes we've seen.
Mm. I do think this is pretty realistic for it.
Yeah.
I feel that maybe the neck shadow is too strong because his face is in, you know, full light and you can see. Well, maybe it's fitting. I don't know, but yeah, I feel like the lighting of the face and the neck could be a little different, but everything else is good about it.
Yeah, his voice sounded in the movie. His voice sounded too deep for French, I think.
French.
Yeah, that's obviously stereotypical.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on, we have
Robbie Rotten.
no,
With
that's
that
not
hair.
Robbie Rotten.
With that hair.
We have we have Flynn Rider from Tangled, and I heard when they created him, they had all the women come in, like the animation designers. It was just women, and they said, "Okay, we want you to make what do you think is handsome about men?" So they got like people like Johnny Depp and Brad Pitt, all these other men they find attractive, and they pretty much made him.
And they all conveniently said large balls. No, I'm kidding.
It's a Disney movie.
Yeah. No. This is. I mean, it definitely looks realistic, but to me, I think it strays a little bit too far personally from the character in the face.
Yeah, but he definitely looks like the kind of guy who would like to rob that cradle of Rapunzel gonna turn 18.
No.
But yeah. Alright, so moving on, we have Prince Naveen from The Princess and the Frog. I would say he looks fine, I guess, from what he did in the animated movie.
Mm-hmm. And he's going to be a doctor of pharmaceuticals.
No, he's not. I don't think he was. I don't know if he was from India. I'm trying to remember what country he was from that movie. What their take on the character was. I'm trying to remember now.
He's very real. I don't think I've actually seen much of, or I don't recall his part really in The Princess and the Frog. So he looks like a real person here, but I don't know how it compares to the actual character really, because I'm not envisioning him in the animated movie. So.
Okay, so moving on, we have Kristoff from Frozen. He looks fine, I guess. Fine enough from what we saw in the movie.
Yeah, I agree. Kind of middle ground.
Yeah, kind of like middle of the road, where you don't want to get in the crossfire between the Marvel and DC fanboys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then we have Peter Pan.
Oh, no! Look at that. Oh
I mean, it's kind of like, how Haley Joel Osment looked fine as a kid, but he completely got ugly as an adult. Peter Pan's like, you know what? I'm going to be horrible looking when I grow up, so I'm just going to try to remain youthful so I can at least stop this from going on.
Bathing every day in the fountain of youth. Yeah.
I mean, it kind of makes sense why Tinkerbell had the hots for him, because she kind of looks like him.
And Michael Jackson. I mean, no. This is this is, I think, fine. It's funny to look at. I'll say that much. And yeah, I could see that pretty much as a real person. Lighting again is a little maybe, but other than that, yeah.
And then finally, we cut to the very short ending to this, where we have a few non-Disney characters. This is actually probably the newest addition, so let's see this. Okay, I gotta be honest. This is Anastasia from Anastasia.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be honest. Anastasia is kind of hot.
Yeah, this is a good one, I think. I recently saw that again, and some of the...
I kind of want to watch that one, but I'm kind of torn because... Again, that movie has really good animation, some really good music, but it's highly historically inaccurate. I'm into history. I'm like, I don't know. I'm probably gonna have to make a whole entire commentary. Maybe we should watch that sometime. Like, I just talk about how historically inaccurate, just at least the first 30 minutes of it.
Tyler, are you saying that Rasputin didn't rise from the grave and have a talking bat playing with him?
I mean, oh yeah, he was kind of like the Iago of that movie. Yeah. Except, Guilford Godfrey was, yeah, I'm just gonna be an annoying guy from New York. I'm not that hard to impersonate. I mean, Bartok kind of came off as kind of Jewish a bit. Some people said in this voice. No. I think in the comments section they were saying that.
Oh, go ahead.
I was about to say, remember Mr. Petrov from high school? Mm-hmm. When, people were comparing like, oh, you're kind of like, Johnny Depp or Edgar Allan Poe. And I think Danielle, I'm not gonna say her last name, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
She was in my graduating class, and she said, "You kind of remind me of that talking bat from Anastasia," and everyone just like erupted into laughter. I was dying laughing too by that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just gonna say that if they were gonna run out of ideas officially, if they ever have like an epic rap battle of history or death battle of Iago from Aladdin versus Bartonk from Anastasia,
Yeah, definitely.
I'm done officially.
Yeah, I thought Stevie Wonder versus Wonder Woman was a stretch. Like, okay, because they both have Wonder very cute.
We have so many good ideas for an epic rap battle of history episodes, not even funny.
Much better than these casuals.
Like Frank Miller versus Alan Moore would be epic.
That would, yeah, seriously, much better. But what I was going to say about Anastasia real quick before we change subject is that there's a part early on, I think it was pretty much one of the first scenes in the town, that if you sync up Russian dancing men that it sounds perfect. It just goes right with it.
But yeah, I would say that her eyebrows are kind of, Lily Collins is. She's like the daughter of Phil Collins.
Yeah.
She's got like, kind of like the thicker eyebrows in a way. But I would say it's definitely one of the best ones that he has done. Even though it's not a Disney princess, it's kind of dumb when people associate this to a Disney movie. And people realize that Disney is not the only studio in the world that makes animated movies. Like, I remember hearing these dumb women a while back, remember back in high school, they were talking about like, oh, have you seen Road to El Dorado? It's like a dumb Disney movie. I'm like, that's a DreamWorks movie? Did you not even see the opening credits to that film which says DreamWorks?
Yeah, they probably saw the D and thought, oh, Disney, okay, well, let me just space out for the rest of the time.
Yeah, right now they're probably seeing a different kind of D.
Yeah, that's not wrong.
In their grade.
That misleading, though.
That's called, how you make smart jokes. Yeah, get a hint, Amy Schumer. Don't steal us from us.
Speaking of Amy Schumer, real life Miss Piggy confirmed. Like,
all right, so we're going to our last one, and we have Dimitri
Martin.
No,
and
not the Dimitri from Sly Cooper. You know, that gecko guy who was like kind of a villain, but then becomes like an ally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what is this from? I'm drawing
Anastasia. So.
Oh, it's from Anastasia. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, he's like okay, I guess.
I agree. He's not the best, but
I'm kind of tempted to see what Rasputin would look like.
Oh my gosh!
I'm kind of surprised, Doctor. I'm trying to remember how you pronounce his last name, but the villain from Princess and the Frog. I'm kind of surprised they didn't have him here yet. But
yeah,
who knows? I mean, maybe they'll get to like DreamWorks and other Don Bluth productions like Titan AE, and maybe Pixar too. Like The Incredibles would be kind of cool.
Who was the villain in Princess and the Frog? Jim Crow.
Oh no, Steven, no, you're ruining people's childhoods. Well, it's not as messed up as the movie Up if you think about it. Like an old man being stuck in a floating house with the boy.
With a young Asian boy.
Oh god, and then realistically that
the Mile High Club.
Oh no! and then realistically that house would have been shot down by the military if it flew in a no-fly zone.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Our channel has been deleted, if it hasn't been yet. Well, my channel has probably been destroyed and burned by an angry mob you would see in a classic Universal monster movie.
Yeah. Fan bases attack.
But if that ever happens, it better have that awesome opening music to Van Helsing. Okay, so if you're going to do that, at least make it cool and make it memorable and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be kind of hard to make everything go from color to black and white. You're going to have some kind of godlike powers to do that. But
it's a good point. Or do it in a weird transition on screen. That would be possible, I guess.
Okay. So this is Tyler from Encoder Reviews.
And Steven from Steven Lawson Studios.
And really hope you enjoyed we hope you enjoyed this episode, and we hope to make more in the future. Please like and subscribe.
Bye.
Oh, that build up right there is amazing.
You can leave.
Yeah. Well, actually, it's more like, you could go to another video.
Right. It is time for the next one. You may click one of the arrows.
Or one of the boxes. Or